Welcome, everyone. It's good to see everybody for the second time today. Well, technically the third, because the first one, while I was live, the StreamYard server just went down totally. Like, I even got an email from them apologizing. I'm sure everybody who uses StreamYard got the same email, but yeah, it was pretty crazy. But we so you guys know, I've been talking about the Heidi Planck case, and Heidi is 31 years old. She went missing from Los Angeles, California on the last time she was seen was October 27th. And she was reported missing on the 30th, I believe. And there's some definitely new details. Like, so far we know that so far we know that her husband said on the 27th she was at her son's football game and she was acting jittery, antsy, if I remember correctly. Cherry is sharing all of the details as far as her description goes here in the chat. She was behaving antsy. I have background noise going on. I apologize for that, guys. She was behaving antsy. She was pacing back and forth. And her ex-husband, who she shares custody with her son with, well, not now. Now he has sole custody, which I'll get into in a minute. She oh my gosh. Okay. Was it the 17th? I'm sorry about that. The 17th. Sorry. Excuse me. And then reported missing on the 20th, right? So there's sorry, I've got some distractions going on, so I do apologize, guys. Now the issue with the custody thing is Jim, her ex-husband, he filed for full custody because he feels that the fact that Heidi is missing is going to affect their son psychologically. So he wanted to get him into therapy as quickly as possible. Let's see. Heidi is from my hometown and school, although much younger. We were all worried sick. Oh, Jesus. I'm sorry to hear that. But I appreciate you being here. And guys, if you're not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button and like this video if you can, so we can get the algorithm going, so we can get the word out on Heidi here. Now, thank you, Cherry. So she was last seen on the 17th and then reported missing on the 20th. Sorry about that. Now, as far as getting their son into therapy, what I'm assuming is, since there has not been a custody agreement established in court, even though it was sought, which we'll get into, since there was not a custody agreement set in court, technically the both of them have joint custody, which means they both have rights over the child, which I'm guessing, I don't know if this is the case, but I'm guessing that the reason why he filed for custody was because of the fact that since she's missing, she cannot consent to therapy for their child, which probably their insurance company that they go through that would cover the child's therapy probably requires consent from both parents. That's just a guess. I'm just assuming. I'm not sure about that 100%. And so as far as Heidi goes with her husband, a lot of people are suspecting that the husband may have filed for custody, and that might have been the motive, and him being behind Heidi's disappearance in some way, shape, or form. I personally don't think that that's the case. Personally, I think that the case is that she has, now I could be wrong, but it just seems to make the most sense to me. I could be wrong, but where there's smoke, there's fire, right? So uh, her boss, Jason Sugarman, is right now being indicted for fraud and for a dollar amount of about $43 million. And she apparently did the books for him. She, according to Jim, her ex-husband, um, Jim Wayne is his name. According to Jim, her ex-husband, she was aware of all the goings in and out of that company. Everything that Jason Sugarman was doing, Jason Muffins Sugarman, and we call him Muffins because for some reason, after she was reported missing, he shows up to her door. He's caught on the neighbor's body, or on the neighbor's security cam footage for the front door, doorbell camera, and he's seen dropping off a thing of muffins for whatever reason that is. So Jason Muffins Sugarman is being indicted for $43 million and trying to steal $43 million. I don't know exactly what the details of that case are necessarily, but it's motive if she knew what was going on and if she was involved in some way. It's quite possible that she was involved in the sense that she was getting hush money. And maybe my theory, my very loose theory, and I don't even think it's that loose, honestly, but the FBI probably caught on to her and used her to get to him. And therefore, they're going to use her, probably planning on using her as a star witness against Jason Muffin Man. So, yeah, Cherry, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. So it's a little hinky, as they say in the Midwest. So I honestly don't know for sure what's going on here, but there's a few theories being thrown around now. Some new information has come out. Some new information has come out, and it's kind of strange. Now, Heidi was last seen. The last footage of Heidi was on the 17th of October, and she was caught on security footage roaming around outside of the high-rise building that her dog was found on the 27th floor, I believe. That's probably why I confused the dates. So the dog was found just wandering around by itself on the 27th floor of this building. And this dog running around, apparently residents of this apartment, of this luxury high-rise apartment building, found the dog, contacted Heidi's phone, and Jim Wayne, her ex-husband, seemed to have had access to her phone at the time finally, and went ahead, and I think also a chip might have tracked the dog, and so he ends up getting the dog. Now, there's interesting details that come up because at first, my first instinct is to sit here and think, well, whatever happened to her happened in that building. And I think that's the case. Whatever happened to Heidi happened in that building. I hope law enforcement is questioning everybody in that building. I truly hope everyone is cooperating in that building. I doubt it, but I hope that that's the case. Now, details here. Hold on. So okay, now it says here that Heidi is the financial controller for Camden Capital Partners, whose managing partner, Jason Muffin Sugarman, is a minority owner of the MLS team Los Angeles FC, is under investigation for $43 million fraud scheme. Now Muffin's business partner, Jason Galanis, is currently serving a sentence of more than 15 years in a federal prison in San Pedro, California, for multiple frauds. He was also ordered to forfeit at $80 million when he was sentenced in September 2020. Now, this is where things get interesting. In 2015, there are court papers. Jim Wayne, who's now 63 years old, said he feared for his son in immediate risk of harm from Heidi. Okay? Hard left turn in the story here, guys. He said that she checked herself into a psychiatric facility on October 2015, but on the second day there, she called him asking, "Can you please take me home? I'm in a scary place, and they are emming me." When he asked her why she felt that way, she replied, "Every time I sit down to pee, I have to poop." Okay, this is she then asked why she had a C-section scar, denying that she had a child. 2 days earlier, Jim and Rite Aid hurriedly. This is 2 days prior to her committing herself into a psychiatric facility. Okay. He took her and their son home and left. But before he could get home, she called and picked them up. Jim says, "When I got back, she was standing outside with our son holding a full plate of bacon." Okay, let me repeat that. When I got back, she was standing outside with our son holding a full plate of bacon. The entire drive back home, she was offering bacon to me repeatedly and seemed slightly intoxicated. When they got to his house, Wayne said that he went to watch football on his TV while his ex-wife and son went into the boys' room. Okay? And about an hour into being in the room, he heard a very loud thud and crash. He said, "I didn't think to go in the room to check because our son was laughing and I could hear that he was okay." Half an hour later, he came out. Now, we've got some, okay, let me click on this here and then I'll share it. Okay, so right now I've got okay, I'm sorry about the sound, guys. Is it real bad? Okay, I'm sorry about the background noise. It's actually really getting on my nerves, but there's nothing I can do about it. I preset the live for now. It is what it is. So I'm gonna do the best I can here. Let me go ahead and share this. Okay, so as you can see, there's a court document. You're not going to be able to read it very well. It's the best I can do. But I will go ahead and read it. And it states here, says, "I, James Wayne Clare, I am the petitioner in this matter. I've witness, I could and would testify competently to the following facts, all of which are within my own personal knowledge and belief. I offer within the support of my request for emergency child custody and visitation orders. I offer this report of my request for order to my ex parte application to modify child custody and child visitation. I am fearful of immediate risk of harm from the respondent to our child, Heidi being the respondent, to our child. As such, I respectfully request the court to hear my matter on ex parte basis under Family Code Section 3064. On October 8th and the 11th, the respondent demonstrated. Now this is, I'm guessing 2020, so I guess this was last year. The respondent demonstrated acts that are damaging and dangerous to our child of our son, given respondent recent conduct. As such, I am requesting that the court hear this matter today, as I need emergency court orders to protect our son. I respectfully request that the court provide me with the following: award sole legal and physical custody to me, the petitioner. No visitation pending further review by the court. Now, this is serious. This is where this dude is claiming to court that she is a danger to their son. He's declaring. He's not saying, oh, I want to get joint custody, blah, blah, blah. Now, let me tell you something. This is a real risky thing to do in a custody case. It's real risky because, if that state, first of all, isn't dad friendly, that state is one of those states that usually side with the mom, then you've got an issue. You have a very, very slim chance of doing this. But you have that this person, that the mother, the maternal source of nurturing, danger to this child. So that child is actually in danger or in the care of the most, in the eyes of nature, the most nurturing person in their life. So that's a very, very difficult. So California is dad friendly, then that's helpful, but it doesn't change the fact that you still have to. I mean, it's a bad look, if you do that. Theirs and that person shows up to court and they're acting perfectly coherent, then you know what I'm saying? Then you're in trouble. So that's why in my case, I remember that I could actually, my attorney was like, since your son is old enough to decide who he wants to see, who he doesn't want to see, the best look for us to have is if we tell the judge that you're fighting for joint custody. Because if your son doesn't want to see his mom, then it's up to him, because he's already of the age to decide that. But if I'm attacking his mom in court, then that's a bad look. You know what I'm saying? Just the purpose of family court is supposedly to hold the family together. That's supposedly the goal of family court. On paper, what they're supposed to do. All right, so moving on. The respondent and I were married on August 9th, 2008. As a result of our relationship, we have a minor son named blank Wayne. Obviously, his name is redacted because he's a minor. With the date of birth of November 4th, 2020, the respondent and I were divorced. Okay, so I mean, yeah, the kid was 2 years old when they divorced. Pursuant to our judgment, respondent and I currently share joint legal and physical custody of our son. Attached as Exhibit A, a copy of the judgment entered on December 20th, 2012. As discussed below, on or about August or October 10th, 2015, respondent checked herself into a psychiatric facility for the past few weeks. Respondent has been suffering from deterioration of her mental condition, leading up to a full psychotic break. Okay, this is massive here, guys. On or about October 11th, 2015, respondent called me from her psychiatric and asked, "Can you please take me home? I am in a scary place and they are listening me." When I asked her why she felt that way, she indicated, "Every time I sit down to pee, I have to poop." When I told her, she started to ask me, "Why do I have a C-section? We don't have children." She indicated that she wanted to leave the facility. Thereafter, she hung up the telephone on me. Approximately an hour later, she called me back and left me a voicemail. Attached is exhibit and incorporated by reference is a copy of the voicemail on a CD-ROM. In her voicemail to me, respondent indicates that it is her intention to stay in the facility. On about October 8th, 2015. Okay, yeah, this is all 2015. This isn't even, yeah, this is 6 years ago, guys. Now, keep in mind, I'm reading stuff and it's valid to the case because it opens up more possibilities. It's valid to the case because it opens more possibilities as to what may have happened to Heidi. But the thing is understand something. I mean, I myself 6 years ago, I was in a bad place. I was a completely different person than I am right now. You know what I mean? So you know, that may not have anything to do with her. It may not have anything to do with anything. 1 second. All right. Let's try this again. All right. So, like I was saying, um, you know, it may not even make any type of difference at all whatsoever as far as this case goes. The fact that she has this history. I mean, we're talking back to 2015. And keep in mind that Jim Wayne's tone, his tune has changed drastically. The person in interviews discussing the situation, he speaks very highly. He speaks very highly of the relationship that she has with their son. He speaks very highly of the fact that he speaks very highly of the fact that she is sorry. He speaks very highly of the, well, not highly, but he speaks loudly about how much he suspects foul play here from Jason Muffins Sugarman. So yeah, Joey, I'm with you. It's possible that she changed. It's possible that she had this breakdown. Sometimes breakdowns are exactly what we need. You know what I mean? Sometimes it takes this completely letting go of all senses of reality in order to collect reality all over again and deal and cope. It's just sometimes that's the way it is, you know. So I'm not holding any judgment. I'm not holding any judgment. Saying is it's I think that these facts, that these new facts, you know, there's no way that they have any impact on what may not have happened to her last month. So Yeah, Jody Lithia. This is no reason to judge her, but it's again the reason why it's relevant, guys, because is because it opened up more possibilities as to what may have happened to her. Um, now, so, on October 8th, on about October 8th, 2015, at 1 p.m., respondent asked me if I could pick up our son. Although it was her custodial agreed, I agreed without pause. Respondent advised me that she would be placed of work by 3:30 to pick up our son. At 5:30, when respondent finally did arrive around 5:30, I noticed that she seemed very stressed and slightly disoriented. She asked if I would be willing to drive in our home, and I advised her that I would drive them, but that they would have to wait until later when I finished with my lesson. Now, for those of you who don't know, Jim Wayne, he is a hairdresser to the stars in Los Angeles. So I'm sure he does very well for himself. I'm sure he's very, very well for himself. But he is a hairdresser to the stars, apparently. Heidi asked me to give her money to take our son to dinner while they waited, and I obliged. Respondent and our son went to a later. When they arrived back at PM, I noticed that she was very jittery and seemed nervous. When they arrived back, she turned to me and exclaimed, "Isn't it so weird? I started to take things off the wall." The question caused me, as her conduct and demeanor seemed to be a bit suspicious. When I inquired as to what she meant, she did not respond coherently. Respondent has a history of substance abuse, so I have learned to be aware of her conduct to try and be aware of when and if she is using. When they got back, our son wanted to play cards, so we walked to Rite Aid, which is a few blocks from my office. Hold on. While we were walking, she was arguing with our son and turned to me and said, "Will you please tell our son to hold my hand?" When I asked why, she said, "It's because it's dark out." I walked closer to them and I put my hand on her shoulder and said, "Are you okay?" Hand on her shoulder, I noticed that her face started to crawl and she was crying. After a few seconds, she started to collect herself to walk. When we walked into Rite Aid, she started shaking, went pale, turned to me and said, "I can't be here. It's too intense." We walked out of the store quickly. We all went to my car and I took them to her apartment. When we got back, I watched her turn on the lights and go into the apartment. After they got in, I started to drive to my house. Before I got home, respondent called me and asked if I would come pick them up. Wow. When I got back to respondent's house, she was bacon. The entire drive back home, she was offering bacon to me repeatedly and seemed slightly intoxicated. When we got to my house, the two of them went into our son's room and started to play. I was watching the football game, so I was in the living room. About an hour into their being in the room, I heard a very loud thud and crash. I didn't think to go in the room to check because our son was laughing and I could hear that he was okay. About 30 minutes later, at around 9 p.m., our son came to me in the living room. He was very excited. He looked a little guilty and he said, "Dad, you have to come see my room. My mom made a mess." Attached as Exhibit C are true and correct pictures of the damages caused by the respondent in my home on October 8th, 2015. Hold on 1 second. Now, I don't know how well you can see that, but there's clearly a mess there. It's a black and white photo. It's coming from the doorway. You can see a bucket on the ground. You can see, I mean, yeah, it's just So yeah, obviously there's she it looks like she took a shelf and just knocked it down. I followed our son, found the room in complete chaos. I looked around the room but noticed that she was no longer there and that the window was open. I looked out the window and could see what looked like her legs going over a fence. What? I yelled out to her, "Where are you going?" To which she responded, "This just isn't right." I went to my front porch a few minutes later to see if I could locate her from there. Just as I was walking out, two police cars pulled up to my house. An officer walked out of one car and asked me if I had an ex-wife, to which I responded, yes. He advised me that a neighbor had called them to respond as she was climbing on roofs and over fences in the neighborhood. A few minutes later, the second officer came out of the second car and said they had located her and she was pretty messed up, quote unquote. Said that she had been located in someone's backyard, partially clothed, shutting an electric on and off. The officers indicated they were going to take her into custody on a 5150 or to jail for breaking and entering. Now, if you're my age or around my age, you know that 5150 is a Van Halen album, and 5150 is also a code for someone needing to be institutionalized, uh, psychological evaluation. Okay. He says, I am worried for our son's safety. I have personal knowledge of the fact that the respondent has a history of substance abuse throughout our marriage and after. Respondent has admitted and discussed these issues with me. I strongly believe that the respondent was on drugs at the time she arrived at my home, and I believe her conduct demonstrates that she is not in control of her actions and consequently puts a risk to herself and our son. I want our son to have a relationship with his mother, and I've always done everything to ensure they have a relationship. Nevertheless, I feel her conduct has reached a level that puts our son at risk of harm. Okay. So now I have no reason to believe that this man is looking for anything. He has any underhanded agenda here. I honestly don't believe that. I'm getting the indication that this man is uh, someone that truly loves his wife or his ex-wife, in the respect for her as being his kid's mom. He respects the relationship that his son has with his mom, and wants to maintain that, at least, if not at least for the sake of his son and his son's happiness and psychological and emotional well-being. So I don't see any indication that this man is trying to do anything malicious. Uh Again, this filing was back in 2015. I don't know whatever happened with that. Did he drop it? Did the judge rule against it? Did they settle some other thing, you know, where they would just continue to have joint custody under certain conditions? I don't know. I honestly don't know, because like I said, this was 6 years ago. Um, Now I'm this brings me to wonder, though, even though this was 6 years ago, there's a possibility that these issues still there. Now, reportedly, she has an addiction to amphetamines, which and prescription a prescription amphetamine being Adderall. I don't know if anybody's ever taken Adderall recreationally, but it has a very, very, very similar feeling as to uh, cocaine. I can tell you that from experience. I'm not proud of it, but I have a past myself, and I can see how someone can become addicted to that. Now, And I can also see how someone could end up being affected with a psychosis as a result of taking Adderall in excess. Now, um, Um, yeah, but I don't see that being the case here. I don't see that being the case here. You're saying having a crazy baby daddy constantly criticizing everything you do and taking you to court, threatening to take your kid will make you act crazy also. Well, the thing is if this baby daddy is criticizing you for abusing substances while the child is in your care, well then he has a legit gripe. Sorry to tell you. Okay? He has a legit gripe. So I don't, yeah, I don't want to hear that necessarily. You know what I mean? Um, so if he's claiming, if if you're trying to imply that this uh if you're trying to imply that this behavior could have been induced by him driving her to the brink, well, no. Yeah, I'm not, yeah, no. No, what people do custody fights, what they do is they try to act a lot more sane than the other person and try to do everything they can to make the other person look as crazy as possible. And the best way to do that is to compose yourself in the best manner that you possibly can. So no, I'm not going with that that he drove her to acting like that, where she's climbing on rooftops and getting half naked and turning circuit breakers on and off in an erratic fashion. I just don't buy it. I don't see that at all. So yeah, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. You calm down. It's okay. It's okay. Anyway, uh, but no, I don't see that being the issue, that she behaved in all of these erratic fashions because of stress from her ex. I don't believe that this man, he doesn't come off as abusive in any way. He seems like somebody who honestly doesn't have the time to 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 deal with this sort of thing. He doesn't come off as somebody who has a lot of time to do that. This guy is running a business where his clientele are very, very high profile. One bad review could just get his reputation screwed. You know what I mean? Like, and if she's already been reported to having an addiction to Adderall, well, then it adds up. I'm not going to sit here and entertain the idea that this dude who's shown no reason who's shown no indication of being abuse or controlling in any way, shape, or form. I'm not going to sit here and jump to that conclusion at all. I'm not even going to even begin to do that. So no, and he's not using his son against her. He's not doing that. I'm not getting that indication in the slightest bit. Uh, and the fact that he's adamant about the fact that she knew all of the company that she worked for, which implies that she's fully aware of what's going on with that $43 million. That would indicate to me that she's probably a star witness for whoever's prosecuting Jason Muffins. And if she's a star witness, well then that gives him motive. I don't mind throwing that out there as a possibility, because we're not talking about a grieving, worried spouse here. We're talking about a guy who's being indicted for stealing $43 million. This isn't a saint we're talking about here. This isn't some sweet guy. This is a guy who not only is being indicted for this, but his business partner is already in prison for the same thing. So, I mean, it's a pretty safe bet. You know, I'm not, I don't feel exactly. Calm your muffins. Okay. What's up, T? Calm your muffins, I said. Anyway, Muffin Man has not been officially named a person of interest, but let's use our common sense here, folks, because on the 29th, Heidi's house was raided by the FBI when the FBI is not even assigned to her missing persons case. The FBI, the if I had to guess, the FBI was in there investigating, and they were expecting a crime scene supposedly. So they raided her house. It's not like they went and knocking and asking questions. They busted in the door, guns drawn, raided the house. She's been missing, and so when they come out with some files, whatever that means, whatever those files are. But I'm guessing they have nothing to do with her disappearance, not directly anyway. I'm guessing those files have to do with the investigation against Jason Muffins. So do what you got to do, Cherry Girl. Do what you got to do. So yeah, I now the reason why these details, these new details could, they open up more possibilities as to what may have happened to her. I mean, it's possible that there was one theory where it's possible that she was going to meet someone for drugs. I mean, if she's got an amphetamine addiction, and meth is such a big deal right now. It's very, very popular. It's probably the most popular addictive drug that's out there right now besides heroin. So I'm guessing that if she can no longer get those prescriptions filled, we're talking 6 years ago, right? If she can no longer get this prescription Adderall, well, she's going to settle for whatever she can get. She's going to go to the streets, and this happens all the time. This happens with people who are addicted to benzos, these are people who are addicted to those kind of downers. When they can no longer get those kind of prescriptions and the prescription drugs that they're used to taking, well, then they'll settle for whatever they can score off the street, because addiction is a very, very, very powerful thing. It's a very powerful force that people have over them. So I can absolutely see her trying to score meth. Now I'm not saying that's the case. Yeah, fentanyl's bad, Jody Lynn. From what I understand, it's real bad. Now I'm not sure if that's the case of her, going and trying to score meth, but it wouldn't make sense. It's very possible that Jason Muffins has absolutely nothing to do with any of this. She went downtown. She went to that high-rise building where supposedly there's a lot of crime in there anyway. She probably went to go make a deal. Something went wrong. Something went bad, and something happened to her. And someone disappeared her. Now, it reminds me of that one case. What's the one case with the hotel, right? The hotel in LA. What's the girl's name? Somebody help me out here. Alyssa Lamb, my man Mexi, coming through. Thank you, Mexi. Alyssa Lamb. Okay. This reminds me of Alyssa Lamb in a bit. I'm wondering if anybody's checked the water tanks on the roof of that high-rise building. I'm wondering. Has anybody done that? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean? I'd be kind of surprised. It's very possible. of people would say, hey, this is the type of person who takes their dog with them everywhere they go because they absolutely adore their dog. They love their dog more than anything in the world. But it's pretty possible that behavior that Jim describes in that court document, it's very possible that she could have all of a sudden freaked out and thought that the dog was in some sort of conspiracy against her, and then she ditched the dog. Who knows? But the behavior she seemed to be displaying in the at her son's football game sounds a lot like what Jim is describing in this court document 6 years ago. So I'm finding that very, very interesting. Yeah, everybody. Yeah, okay. Now, Alyssa Lamb, we can learn from the Alyssa Lamb case as far as this case goes. The Alyssa Lamb case, I don't find any suspicion of foul play in that case at all. Most people don't agree with me. I think that she was having a psychotic episode, and she went into the water tanks and she couldn't get out. I think that's all that happened. Honestly, that's me personally. That's just my opinion. So it's very, very possible, based on this new information that we have on Heidi Planck, it's very possible that she had a psychotic break and something just went wrong. It's very possible. But here's the thing, though. It does explain why her vehicle has not been recovered yet. So I'm still going to go with foul play here. My gut tells me foul play is absolutely the case here, because where is her vehicle? It's never been recovered. It has yet to be recovered. So the fact that her vehicle has not been recovered, the fact that her dog was found wandering around, and I mean, it's her dog, you know what I mean? The fact that she took the dog with her tells me that she loves her dog very much. She wants to be close to the dog. A lot of people are like that. So where's her vehicle? If she just had some sort of psychotic break, where's her vehicle? Now, it's possible that she got in her vehicle, she left the dog, got in her vehicle, and then drove off and pulled a Stephanie Hollingsworth, and then ended up in a lake somewhere, and they haven't been able to find her. That's possible. But if that's the case, why wasn't there footage? Why haven't we seen footage of her leaving the building? Oh, totally. The muffins, drop the muffins is super shady, dude. It's super shady. But why? Okay, Sherry Thomas, foul play, or she drove it into the water. But why isn't there footage of her leaving the building? Where is that footage? There's footage of her going in the building, but there's not footage of her leaving the building. What's up, Panda Lady? Come on. Yo, don't be a dick. Come on. Good girl. Leo, you can come up here too, buddy. It's up to you. Yeah, so I'm just curious as to why her vehicle hasn't been recovered and why there is footage of her leaving the building. I'm convinced that whatever happened to her happened in that building. I am totally convinced of it, at least so far. Considering what we know, the little that we know, at least so far. The new boyfriend is been basically cleared. Okay. I the new boyfriend has basically been cleared. No, sorry, I thought of a joke. Stephanie Harlow's video on this, and uh, and she made a joke about that. She Stephanie Harlow made a joke saying that the boyfriend works for Mark Zuckerberg, but we're not going to hold that against him. But he's basically been cleared by law enforcement as far as we know. He's not a person of interest in the slightest bit. So, and the only reason I would even suspect him, uh, is if he either lived in that building or they both mutually knew someone who did, and that comes out in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, Stephanie Harlow is great. She's fantastic. Yeah. So I mean, I'm completely and totally like so far. I'm thinking foul play, and I'm thinking Muffins is behind it. Totally. Uh, Inverted Earth. I honestly don't know. I don't know if they used we don't know any of the details right now of the search necessarily. So, I honestly couldn't tell you. I don't know what is going on with law enforcement's investigation on this case. I don't know any of the details. Um, and I'm actually relieved that we actually have as much information as we do. Uh, the amount of information that we have is a lot of information for a missing persons case. Yeah, I don't think we'll ever hear that again, Lindsay. Foul play and muffins, that combo, we'll probably never hear that in a case ever again. I mean, we don't know what the nature of their relationship actually was. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to imply that they had a romantic relationship. I'm saying there's a possibility that that was the case. That would add to the motive, but we don't have anything to indicate that. There's no information to indicate that there was, but that doesn't imply. I mean, you know what I mean? Like if I'm in a romantic relationship with somebody, I'm gonna do a little better than muffins. You know what I mean? At least I'd like to think so. If I'm $43 million richer than I was before, I'm gonna do a little bit better than muffins. I like to think so. Let's see. It sounds like the Muffin Man has the most to gain from her disappearing from the little I know. I don't think the ex-husband was being malicious before, and I don't feel anything. I agree. I agree. I wonder if we haven't heard anything because they are gathering evidence since the FBI got involved and raided her house. Tell me that this is not a simple case. Tells me this is not a simple case. You're right. It is not a simple case. It's very, very strange. I mean, I think it's pretty simple. It's just not, it's just very different. Complications to it. I mean, we have all these different facts regarding this case. We have a bunch of different facts regarding this case, but but most of it seems to fit together pretty easily for sound theories. Theories that I don't feel even the slightest bit guilty about coming to at all. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, Road King, you're right. She really likes muffins. All right. They better have been good muffins, though. I mean, I don't see that. I don't see it happening. I don't believe that she ran off. I think that she was probably eligible for some sort of witness protection, but I'm quite certain that her son would have been taken with her. Um, but that's a little complicated too, because I mean, if they had joint custody, you know what I mean? It's quite possible that dad, Jim, was like, no, you can't just take off with my son because you were doing or you're aware of some shady that's going on in your company. That's why should I have to be punished for that? But at the same time, I wonder, well, if it turns out to be the best thing for the safety of their son, well, then I can see them doing that. Yeah, I'm just not. I'm not. I'm in a place where I think that uh, she is. I think that if she was going to relocate, uh, I think if she was going to relocate, she would have. It would have taken place after she would have testified against Muffins. So, I'm yeah. I just don't. I just don't buy it, man. I just don't buy it. You know, I think something bad happened to her, and I think Muffins is behind it. And I have every reason to believe that. We all have every reason to believe that. See, it could possibly been witness protection, perhaps. I mean, it could have. It's possible it was witness protection. It's possible. I mean, again, the guy who watches too many movies. It's possible that law enforcement was like, okay, well, we're going to fake your disappearance. We're going to say you're missing. You know, and people are going to assume you're dead. But the thing is if we're all assuming that she's dead, we're assuming that it was Muffins that was behind it, and he's the only one who actually has a motive, and he's the reason he's the person that they would be protecting her from. So if Muffins is sitting there going, "Well, I didn't have nothing to do with it. She must be alive." How is that really protecting her? They'd still be actively looking for her. They'd still be actively searching for her. So you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and debunk the whole witness protection thing. It doesn't make sense that they would put her in witness protection now. I mean, I could see putting some sort of detail on her until she testifies. I could see putting her in a safe house of some sort until she testifies, like maybe a hotel room with, you know, with police with police guarding her. I could see that, but no, yeah, I'm not feeling the whole idea that she's already under police protection because it just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. You mean they would have or they wouldn't have, Mrs. R&B? I don't know what you mean. Oh, Jeanette, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Oh, you don't like this hat? Too bad. Sorry. um, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just don't. I'm just not seeing the witness protection thing. I mean, I don't think so though, Mrs. R&B, because I feel like they would have. Um, I feel like they wouldn't they want to create the facade that she's missing, and wouldn't plastering her face all over, letting her friends, make these flyers and post them all over downtown. Wouldn't that help create a facade that she's missing and she's gone? I mean, but again, they're protecting her from Homeboy, from Muffins, from Sugarman. So if they're protecting him from Muffins, and Muffins is sitting there going, "Well, I didn't do nothing. I didn't have nothing to do with it." I mean, how are they really protecting her? You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. Good night, Jeanette. Thank you again. Um, Winn Dixie. Do they have Winn Dixie in Nebraska? They have Winn Dixie in Florida. That's where I used to shop in Miami all the time. And Sedanos. You don't have Sedanos anywhere but Miami. Stephanie G, that's a good point. How does witness protection work these days with the internet? You can find people's images everywhere. Yeah, you can find people's images anywhere. But I mean, if you're in witness protection, people are looking for recent pictures. You know what I mean? Like old pictures aren't going to do nothing. You know, if you already know who you're looking for. Let's see, I was entertaining the possible mental breakdown due to stress of police raid and investigation. The New York play seems the most logical here, but the police raid didn't happen until the 29th, right? She was missing on the 17th. She was last seen on the 17th and reported missing on the 20th. So, and the FBI raid didn't happen till the 29th. So there's no way it was, the stress induced breakdown of that. Possibly a stress induced breakdown from the stuff going on with her boss, but still. Probably, sure. I mean, when you have $43 million to spend, when you have $43 million to spend, chances are you've got more than that. I said the 17th. I just said the 17th. Last seen on the 17th, reported missing on the 20th. I said that. Anyway, when you have $43 million, you probably have access to more than $43 million, and that that employs some shady people. That can employ some shady people to get things done that can't be traced back to you in court. So who knows? Truth is, guys, we may never get any answers here. We may never get any answers as to what happened to Heidi Planck. I mean, maybe, I don't know, but I'm shutting down the whole witness protection possibility. It's just not. It's there's nothing that makes any sense in comparison to someone being in witness protection. None of that makes sense. None of it adds up. None of it fits together. Exactly. Exactly. That kind of money definitely buys a lot of closed mouths. Absolutely. Yeah. The answer to 99 out of 100 questions, folks, money. meth gators. Yeah. By the way, guys, I now have merch. The link is in the description. I now have merch, and you can get Meth Gator merch too. So if you want Glare Meth Gator merch, just go to the description, click on the link, and get yourself a cool t-shirt or a hoodie or a, I don't know, what do we got? Phone cases, all kinds of stuff. We got all kinds of crap in there. I do. I don't think that a guy would risk going to court. I don't think that a man would risk going to court with that story, unless in some way he could prove it. And now he did prove it. He said there was Exhibit A, Exhibit B. There was CD-ROM of her voicemails, which I don't have here, but but we have. He apparently presented to a family court judge a CD-ROM with recordings of voicemails that she was leaving him that made her sound erratic. And I don't think that he would take this to a judge. It's too risky, because a judge is going to look at the first thing he's going to think is this man using this child to get back at his ex. That's the first thing a family court judge does, is they go, is this person trying to use their child as a weapon against the other party? Is there a way for this family court to maintain this family, to somehow keep this family together on a functional level to some degree? Is there some medium ground that we can reach? So that's usually what the case is. I don't think he's going to go to that extreme to try to convince a judge of these things unless he can prove it, because it's too risky. He'll lose. You can't just throw accusations like that and say somebody's on drugs and they don't, and they're acting crazy, unless you can produce witnesses, unless some way or another you can prove it. So I don't think that his actions were ever malicious. But do I think that she definitely had some mental issues? Sure. Do I think that she probably has a drug problem currently? Possibly. I don't know for sure, but it would make sense if she's involved in these crimes and somehow or another she's getting a cut out of the money that Muffins is embezzling or stealing from whatever form of fraud that he's committing. If she's getting a piece of that and she's helping him with that, a drug addiction would be a logical explanation as to why she would engage in that type of behavior. Ooh, Meth Gator pesto. That's a good idea, dude. Meth Gator pesto. I'm just not. Yeah, I think what took place 6 years ago is relevant, but I don't think it's relevant as far as I don't see any reason to think that Jim Wayne is in some way, shape, or form responsible for Heidi's disappearance. I don't see him being malicious in that sense in any shape or form. Could be wrong, but I don't have any reason to believe that. He seems to be a loving dad. He seems to be a supportive ex-husband. He seems to be somebody who is interested. His actions seem to be of someone who is interested in maintaining a functional working family, for the sake of the happiness of his son, for the emotional well-being of their son. I'm seeing every indication of that. We don't know, KK. We don't know what her mental state was now, but I will say that the way that he described her behavior as being erratic, as being antsy, would be consistent with the behavior that he describes in that court document of events taking place in 2015, where he claims she was under the influence of amphetamine. So, we don't know, but it would make perfect sense. I'm definitely not going to rule that out. That's a great comment there, Sherry Thomas. You're saying, I want to know, why did the FBI think there would be a crime scene at her house? Well, they would probably think that there's a crime scene because she's been missing. She's been missing. And oh, wow. Jen K, thank you so much. Enjoying the discussion tonight. Thanks for all you do. Real crime hashtag. Yes. Thank you, Jen K. It's my pleasure. Thanks for being here. Yeah, the fact that I'm sure that the FBI was perfectly aware that she had been reported missing 9 days prior to their raid. So she was reported missing 9 days prior to that. So I'm guessing that they totally knew that she was missing. They absolutely 100% knew that she was missing. And since they knew that she was missing, and since such a high crime had taken place, they probably tied the two together the way that we're doing right now. And they assumed that there was a crime scene. That's probably why they assumed there would be a crime scene, because Muffins has got motive, period. There's no other way around that. Muffins has got motive. Jerry meant to say hashtag real crime. Thank you very much at Jen K. Hashtag real crime. It's Cherry's phone. It's bad. It's something with the typing. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, because she's intelligent. She's not capable of making the same typo all of a sudden. So I'm going to chalk it down to a technical issue. It's real crime. She means to type real crime. Okay. So it's always a typo. She types true. That's far-fetched, but okay. The boss was keeping her drugged and muffined up. Yeah. By the way, the merch was totally Cherry. Cherry designed all the merch. Ames helped with it. So I'm very, very grateful to them. I would have never even gotten merch, man. You know, I just have a great mod team. So, uh, so yeah, if you guys want to get merch, uh, they're all Cherry's designs. Well, that's exactly what they were there for, in my opinion, Larry Barlow, because they're involved in the missing persons case. The FBI is not involved, as far as I know. It's just an LAPD jurisdictional case. The FBI may have been looking for evidence at her house, thinking she's involved in the money case too. They were there because of the money case. Make no mistake about that. They were there because of the money case. Now they expected a crime scene, I suspect, because they knew she was missing, and because it would make sense that she would be missing because she's involved in the money case. So that's why they expected a crime scene when they got there. Yeah, man. What's up, crime story? All right. I have got to pause here for just a second, guys. I will be right back. Okay. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Appreciate your patience. Um, let's see. I love the discussion in this chat. Y'all are the best intelligent conversation, and everyone stays respectful and fun. Well, thanks, Angela Dawn. I love having you here. We all do. Um, and yes, Cherry should feel attacked because, I mean, come on, you guys are talking about Cherry here. um, so, I mean, does anybody have any more? I mean, I don't think there's anything else to think as far as what's going on with Heidi Planck. You know what I mean? I just don't. It adds up to be muffins. Muffins is the one with the motive. Now, does Jim have motive as far as their son? Yeah, but he's not showing any indication. He's not showing any red flags. You know what I mean? I'm sure drugs have something to do with it. You know, or well, I mean, I'm sure drugs play a factor. Well, I'm not sure, but I believe that she is probably still having a bit of a drug problem. But I personally believe, and this, you know, I know some of you guys feel victim blaming or whatever, but it makes perfect sense to me. If she knew what was going on in that company, I'm guessing she had part of it. I'm thinking she's a little dirty, man. You know, and I'm thinking that, you know, I don't think that we're talking about some just innocent bystander here who you know. Now, does she deserve what's happening? Probably not. No, obviously not. No way. But you know, I think it's almost naive to not assume that she was part of the operation of this $43 million scheme. I just think it's naive to not think that if she was the one, she was the financial, she's basically the CFO of this place. You know, she was the person that handled all of the finances. She handled all of the books. Nothing came in or out without her knowledge. So you know, I'm guessing the FBI got to her and she was going to testify, and muffins disappeared her. That's what I think happened. Yeah, me too. I want to see all security video from that building. I mean, the answers, I am 90% sure that the answers to whatever happened to Heidi are in that building. Somewhere in that building, somewhere in that high rise. I believe the answers are there. All right. So I'm going to change up the subject a little bit. Type 1 if you're following the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Okay. A lot of ones. Yeah, the whole country's following this, man. This is tough, man. This is tough. Yeah. I have 2 subscribers because of my live stream earlier, guys. That happened. I lost a few because, you know, that's the thing, man. You know, what's the point of having this channel? I mean, you know, the thing I love about having a YouTube channel is being able to be honest and express my opinions. And the kind of subscriber that I want, you know, the kind of supporter that I want for this channel is someone who can accept an opinion that's different than theirs, and you know, and just move on, or discuss it. You know what I mean? I prefer that we discuss it. I have see Gary's left, and she says I'm left, and I stay. Now I'm not I'm not in red. I'm not on the right. I am not a conservative. As far as social issues go, I definitely lean toward the left. If I'm being completely honest, I don't care if gay people get married. I hope that sure, knock yourselves out. That's cool. I'm pro-choice because I don't know what it's like to be a woman, so I don't think that it's right for men to make laws regarding women's bodies. So therefore, I'm pro-choice. Do I think abortion's wrong? Personally, yes, I do. But how am I going to know that better? How am I going to base that information of why I feel that way over a woman who feels the opposite way? You see what I'm saying? So if I feel that abortion is wrong, then, but I don't know what it's like to be a woman who feels that it's perfectly fine. Well, that opinion trumps mine. It's science. So to me, it's just life. Now, I'm anti-gun control. That I am. And it's just because the fact is guns are reality. And this is going to be a very sensitive subject for a lot of people because I can see why people want gun control. People aren't looking at the grand scheme of things, the big picture, as to what gun control can do to this country, can do to your freedom. The fact of the matter is that our Second Amendment exists so that the people can ensure their freedom. We, the people, can ensure our freedom. If push comes to shove, if our hands are forced, we have the Second Amendment. We have the right to bear arms. We have the right. And the whole point is in case a tyrannical government tries to take our freedoms away. That is the entire point of the Second Amendment, which is why I am very anti-gun control, because where does it stop? You start to one degree, and then you keep going with it, and then before you know it, somebody's telling you whether or not you can have a gun. That's so some might say, okay, well, what about a crazy person, somebody with mental health issues, somebody with a past of mental health issues should not be allowed to get licensed to carry a gun? Well, the fact is what are those mental health issues? You see what I'm saying? You're gonna have to be able to. It's tough. Okay, it's a tough subject, but when is there ever going to be a budget to actually explore and differentiate this person's mental health from another person's mental health? Because if somebody has an issue with anxiety, why should they not be allowed to be able to carry a gun and protect themselves? Right? What if they're deemed not dangerous to themselves or others, and then just because they have a past of mental health issues, well, then they're no longer allowed. Their rights are taken away to protect themselves, right? So my solution, it's kind of radical. I get it, but everybody carry a gun. That's just my personal opinion. And I know a lot of people A lot of people are like, what? That's insane. Now, I do believe in your right to not carry a gun if you don't want to. Sure. Of course. But the bottom line is you're more susceptible to the dangers of the streets and the dangers of your government taking you over. Plain and simple. Your freedom's being taken away, or your physical well-being being taken away. So, I mean, me personally, I'm of the opinion that somebody is less likely to walk into a Walmart and just start shooting people because, let's face it, the kind of people who do that are cowards. Okay? They're just cowards. They're less likely to do that if they think that almost everybody in that Walmart is carrying a gun and is going to take them down in a split second. That's just my opinion. Okay? It's just my opinion. And nobody's going to change my mind on that. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to change my mind on that. But, it's the kind of thing that where something's wrong if I sit there and I listen to your opinion and your opinion is the opposite of that. But because my opinion is the opposite of yours, you're like, oh my God, unsubscribe. Oh, this person's a horrible person. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel that way about you because your opinion is different than me. The very thing in me that makes me think that everyone should probably carry a gun because they have the freedom to, well, then you also have the freedom to believe and have opinions on whatever you want. I believe in your right to do that. I believe in your right to feel however you feel. I believe in your right to express it verbally. I believe in your right to express it artistically. I don't believe you have the right to express it violently. I don't believe that you have the right to throw a temper tantrum and throw bricks through small business windows or even large business windows. Somebody else's property. I don't think you have the right to tear down statues because they don't, because they don't agree with what you think should be taught in history and what shouldn't be. I don't believe in keeping things out of history. I believe in teaching every single possible side of anything and letting people choose their own opinions for themselves. I believe in the news reporting accurate information and allowing me to form my own opinion on it. But we don't live in that kind of world right now. We don't live in that kind of world right now. And that's a really, really sad thing. Yeah, that's the prosecution pointing an AR-15 at the jury with his finger in the trigger well. It was out of this world, in all caps, loaded or not. Happens honestly, and that was just insane. I completely agree. The prosecutor is doing the worst job, but the thing is understand something. Now, the jury is still in deliberation over this case. This jury is still in deliberation over this case. Now, that's actually a good thing. When it comes to a criminal case, I believe that, no, and I'm not an expert in the slightest bit in any way, shape, or form, and am I an expert? But I believe that the longer it takes for a jury to deliberate, the more chance of him being acquitted there is, because that tells me that they're having a hard time coming to some unanimous decision among the jurors. I know the judge yelled at him for something, Sherry. No. Yeah, and how could this prosecutor be so stupid to do that in the wake of all of this Alec Baldwin stuff? Right? In the wake of all of this Alec Baldwin stuff, and you're trying to, I mean, make no mistake, the only reason this kid is even on trial right now is because of the gun control crowd, the people screaming for gun control. That is the only reason that this is even an issue and it's even in question. This isn't about some kid or whether or not he defended himself or anything, because if it was that him, well, then the liberal news media wouldn't be sitting there calling this kid a white supremacist when he's clearly no evidence to indicate that he is. They wouldn't be making up all these lies about him and painting him out to be this horrible villain. He's an 18-year-old kid. He was 17 when it happened. This is a kid. So if it was about that, they wouldn't be spinning this narrative. They wouldn't be throwing untruths out there. They wouldn't be spinning a narrative. They would just be reporting the facts. And that should tell you something. This is all about the gun control crowd, man. That's all this is. It's just propaganda for the gun control crowd. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You know, why not teach gun safety? You know, I mean, accept the fact that guns are here. That's not going away. It's not going away. That's why I'm so pro everybody should have a gun. Right. Bugsy's anti, exactly. Like, he didn't kill anybody of color. Shoot anyone of color. Everybody was white. So how's he a white supremacist? And why does it even factor in what we're talking about? Because you're not going to like this either. But if I don't even like saying it, but it's the truth. If he is a white supremacist, it's completely irrelevant to this case. He has the right to be a white supremacist. He has a right to his beliefs. I don't like it. I don't like I don't like anybody who's a white supremacist. I think they're ignorant, and I like to thump the fucking skull for them. I don't like it. You know, it's just plain that kind of ignorance is very, very dangerous, and I don't like it. But the fact of the matter is he is entitled to his opinions. He is entitled to his ignorance. He's an American. He has that right. Whether we like it or not, he has that right. And you have the right to insult him. You have the right to speak out against him. You have the right to counter protest when these people are protesting down the street. Does anybody watch Curb Your Enthusiasm? Anyone in the chat watch Curb Your Enthusiasm? I think it's probably one of the funniest shows ever. And the latest episode that aired is genius. It is pure comedic genius. So you know Larry David is Jewish, right? Larry David, he's Jewish, but he's not a practicing Jew, okay? He's Jew by race. He's Jew by generation. He's, but he's not a practicing Jew, right? And you know how it's just like Seinfeld, there's subplots. There's like 3 different subplots going on at the same time that all kind of tie in together in this very genius way. But at one point, they're talking about how there is a white supremacist rally going on, right? Larry David, being a non-practicing Jew, seems to just not care, which is really, really funny. And he just comes back from the eye doctor, and they give him these drops, so his eyes are blurry. His vision's going to be blurry for about 30 minutes. He's walking down the street, and he's got coffee, or the other guy's got coffee, and it turns out to be a white supremacist carrying his Klansman robe, and he spills coffee on it, right? And you'd think that Larry is going to be like, you think that Larry's going to be like, oh my God, screw you, blah, 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 and be all passive aggressive in some way, because he confronts people who cut lines in restaurants, you know what I mean, and takeout places. But and instead he's like, man, yeah, it's my fault. I got the coffee on it. I'll take it to the dry cleaner and I'll get cleaned for you, right? Because it's his fault. He takes responsibility for it. Doesn't matter what his politics are. Doesn't matter. He totally throws all of that out the window because it was irrelevant to the fact that he was responsible for spilling coffee on the dude's robe on his property. His beliefs didn't matter. The other person's beliefs didn't matter. It was just purely what's right, what's wrong. Okay. And it was beautiful. And so of course he takes it to a Jewish owned dry cleaner. And the dry cleaning guy, this guy, he's like, no, I'm not doing it. There's no way I'm cleaning this. I'm not taking this in. Right. It's a big white robe with a big emblem, and it's so messed up. And so he finally gives him this speech, right? He gives him the speech that makes perfect sense and convinces the guy to actually do it. And then, I won't tell you the rest, but it's comedic genius. I mean, it was Dave Chappelle level genius, like total trolling, where you cannot argue with the comedy there and how it was justified. Like, you could have got mad about the fact that Larry was Jewish and just being cordial and being kind and didn't care that the guy was a Klansman. He was only worried about fixing the guy's robe because he spilled coffee on it, stained it. Right is right. It just is what it is. So you could get mad about that, but the truth is you can't deny the fact that it has nothing to do. Like, this was a perfect example of what a dream of America could be. You have a right to your opinions as long as you're not hurting anyone. You have a right to your opinion, and I have a right to mine. And there's no reason why we can't treat each other with a mutual respect of having a difference of opinion, no matter what those opinions may be. There's no logical reason why you cannot find a reason, a common ground to get along with that person if you need to, whether you like it or not. I know Panda doesn't like it, but sorry, Panda. This is America, USA, man. You have a right to your opinion. I have a right to mine. Just how it is. Panda gets it. Yeah, I'm not saying you should be friends with Klans people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that at all. You need to grow up and accept the fact that somebody will have opinions that you don't like. Because I guarantee you that you have opinions that other people don't like. Does that mean that you shouldn't be allowed to express them openly? I mean, that's just the way this is, man. See, I don't have a problem with the social issues coming from the left and what their opinions are on these issues. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with the LGBTQ community, what they want to be referred to or identify as. I don't have an elephant, and you want to identify as an. I will affect you, and I will call you an elephant. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Doesn't hurt me none at all. And you have the right to be who you want to be. You have every right to do that. Sure. But to tell me that I'm not allowed to express my opinion on it, well, I draw the line there. Because the left seems to have this agenda of wanting to shut everybody up. It seems to have this agenda of wanting to control how things go. And that I can't get behind, man. And I'm not conservative. I'm not. I'm just not. So what's funny is like I said, I agree with a lot of the left's social issues. I just don't like how the left is going about trying to enforce those issues and the way that people take them. You start to take away my liberty and my freedom of speech, then we got a problem. I don't know about that. I'm not seeing that much from the I'm really not. I see a lot of the right calling out the left on hypocrisy, but I also, let's not forget, we're talking about the right who wants to push religion on people, which I just don't agree with. Uh, you know, there's a lot of fundamental Christian values that are going on with the right that I don't like being pushed on anybody. Um, you know, I don't like that. Harry's over here cringing because I'm just letting it loose. But you know what? I mean, that's I'd rather I'd rather have all my cards out on the table. And if you feel the need to unsubscribe from me, then that's okay. I understand that. That's fine. But I'm not going to sit here and pander to what people may or may not, I'm going to pander to the majority of where my subscribers lean in order to keep subscribers. You know what I mean? That's not why I do this, because otherwise this becomes work. You know what I'm saying? I want to be, I want this to be a channel that people log on to because they enjoy it. Period. That's it. You know? And I want the kind of people in my chat to be tolerant people. That my opinion, you know, isn't going to make you angry to the point to where you feel like you got to do something about it. Like, that's crazy. It's just my opinion, man. You know what I mean? And your opinion's welcome. Now, if your opinion's dumb and like it lacks any type of common sense as a base, well then, I'll call you out on it. You know what I mean? Like, but that's if that's the case. Now, if you have a valid reason for your opinion, then I'll entertain it for sure. You know what I mean? But I mean, the stuff that goes on in my Discord, man, the stuff that goes on my Discord, like there's people that don't agree with me. That's okay. You don't see me booting them out of my Discord. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, why not? I just figured I'll put it all out on the table. You guys understand where my beliefs are in this very touchy way, very touchy subject, and I understand it's touchy. But I mean, the fact that there is overwhelming evidence of this kid defending himself, and this overwhelming evidence in a case of self-defense and nothing else, and that people are actually arguing about it, tells me that we're in trouble. Tells me that we are in trouble. Because I'm not trying to promote one side against another. I'm saying simply, I'm on the side of justice. I'm on the side of right or wrong. This is a real crime channel, people. What do? We deal in facts. And the facts dictate that this is a clear-cut case of self-defense. The one argument that they had, the one even remotely logical argument that they had, was he was too young to be armed and in that area. And that's just not true. He didn't break that law. He was legally within rights to do that. And on top of that, people are saying, well, what about the curfew? Everybody was violating the curfew, not just him. They should all be held accountable for violating the curfew. You can't put this kid in handcuffs and lock him up for violating curfew when nobody else got arrested for violating curfew, and the streets were flooded with violent people. Violent people claiming to be peaceful. It's not even an opinion, Jen K. It's fact. Go into my community. I reposted when this happened. I was a much smaller channel back then, but when this happened, The Kyle Rittenhouse thing first happened, I did a full on live stream about it, and I covered every frame by frame. I covered all of the video footage of it, and I showed how it was undoubtedly self-defense. Sorry, I was frozen there for a minute there. Yeah, it's a simple question of video evidence. It's not a question of opinion, you know. And I get what you're saying, Jen K. I'm not trying to, I'm just, you know, the fact that people are acting like it's a matter of opinion. I know that's not what you meant, but people are acting like it's a matter of opinion when it's not. It's a matter of fact. It's a matter of video evidence. Let's see. KK, what is your opinion on the rest of the trials just so happen to be in continuance pending the results of this trial? I don't know. I don't know. The country is in a very, very sensitive place right now. It's probably difficult for jurors to concentrate because people have strong opinions on this case. So I can, I mean, I'm just speculating. I don't know. I'm not an attorney. I don't know what the reason is that there are other trials that are continuous because of this case. I mean, the whole world's watching this case. God, I feel so bad for this kid, man. This is not some sociopath that's sitting on trial just trying to waste everybody's time. This is a kid who truly believes that he didn't do anything wrong. This is a kid who truly believes he never did anything wrong because he was in the heart and a mindset of just trying to defend himself. Anytime there is footage played as evidence in that courtroom, this kid gets triggered. You can see it in his face. He starts shaking. He's scared. Those are symptoms of PTSD. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, and when you look at this footage, what was happening the entire time? This kid was being attacked the entire time. That is a nightmare come to life. Has anybody actually had a nightmare where there was a crowd chase and it's terrifying? It's absolutely terrifying. Can you imagine that? This entire mob all of a sudden turns on you and they're focused on you. You're armed with a gun. What are you going to do? You're going to shoot people. He didn't even shoot anybody in a panic. He composed himself. The training that he had for using that weapon was utilized in that situation. You're going to tell me it was an accident that the final shooting victim, and I use the term loosely victim. I don't think he's a victim at all. But his arm, the arm that's holding a pistol, gets shot. He's already shot and killed 2 people. He's already freaked out about this. At this point, I'm guessing that he was like, I don't want to kill anybody else. I can't believe this is terrible. But this guy came at him with a gun. You're going to tell me it's just coincidence that he shot the dude in the bicep of the arm that is holding the gun in order to disable him, but spare him? I don't think that's an accident at all. Yeah, that too. Yeah, I love that. People are like, oh, it was a small fire. Dude, you're putting out fires, Like, you're sitting here, you're minimizing the fact that he put out a small fire. Well, guess what happens with small fires? When you don't put them out, they become big fires. It's science, folks. And the dude even testified. The dude basically even admitted that he was shot in self-defense. He was on the stand and he basically admitted that he was shot in self-defense. So all the more reason. I don't know if that's the case. If it was next to a gas station, of course, you put it out so it doesn't blow up a gas station. Exactly. See that I'm not surprised that it's a long deliberation. I'm sure somebody in there thinks this kid belongs in prison. I'm sure one of those people believes that this kid belongs in prison. But I guarantee you at least one doesn't and is adamant about it. Yeah. It's not going to be the jury's fault. Yeah, I agree with you there. It's not the jury's fault, man. Like they had evidence presented to them. You know, they did the best they could with their duty. I mean, I don't want to be a juror in that case. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine the pressure? None of these people's lives are ever going to be the same ever again. Yeah, like why does that matter? I, yeah, we went over some of those closing arguments like earlier, and he was like, yeah, "This kid, he lied and said I didn't shoot anybody." Dude, I'm lying to a mob too. Okay, if the mob is after me because I just shot somebody, I'm lying to them too and saying I ain't shooting nobody. Leave me alone, and I'm getting the hell out of there. I'm saying, and doing whatever I got to do to get out of that situation. And all of a sudden, this kid is a murderer because he lied to the mob to get out of the to prevent the mob from attacking him. Come on, man. Prosecutor's a joke. I'm telling you, that dude pays hookers for golden showers, man. He's just got that look. He's just got that look. Okay, I put it in the chat. The video that I did when this first happened. So if you're looking for something to watch and you have not been subscribed to me for a long time, uh, check it out. Check it out because I think you'll find it interesting. Yeah, it's just crazy, man. You know, the world is going crazy right now. Just the perception of what's right and wrong is just completely and totally like I can't, you know. Now it seems like America's wising up because it even seems like a lot of people on the left are starting to understand things and starting to see like stuff going on with COVID you know, now COVID. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I COVID's a real thing. I'm not trying to say that it's not. I'm saying that the things that are happening as far as dealing with COVID may not be appropriate. Is the best way I could put it. The way that COVID is being dealt with, I'm not sure is appropriate for what COVID actually is. And people are starting to wise up to it, I believe. So, um, I'm not ready for zombies. But anyways, guys, uh, I am gonna call it. And if you're not members of Patreon, please consider joining Patreon, and we can get into these discussions in Discord. Uh, and you know, we can continue having contact, but in the Discord server. Um, there's also, like I said, there's new Galera merch. The link for both the Patreon and the Discord are in the description. Um, I really hope that everybody has a fantastic and wonderful night. I really appreciate everyone being very tolerant with me and each other in chat, and we can have these difficult discussions. That speaks volumes of you guys to me, is the fact that we can have these conversations and be civil with each other, and opinions don't reflect to each other what kind of people we are as human beings. The fact that we can get along speaks that much more to me. Anyways, I love you guys, and we will do this again very soon, my friends.